You may have heard of the Glock 19. It's an absolute unit of a concealed carry weapon that's been around for decades. But the trouble with all Glock products is that they come with a pretty hefty price tag. And that makes a more budget-friendly clone like the Dagger Compact from Palmetto State Armory a very attractive alternative. So in this video, we're going to compare the Glock 19 to the PSA Dagger to answer the question, should you spend the extra money to get the real Glock, or should you save that money and get the more affordable Glock clone? Let's talk about the size, ergonomics, and features. Now, the dimensions for both guns are basically identical, which you would of course expect. And then when it comes to the stippling on these grips, both are pretty good. Now the Glock will have the RTF or rough textured frame that Glock is kind of known for. And it seems like people either really love or really hate the RTF frames. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. Like, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I also don't dislike it. The stippling on Glock frames, it just works for me, and that's really all I care about. The grip texturing on the Dagger is also pretty aggressive, so much so that PSA even calls it out in the product listing on their website. And yeah, the stippling, it's pretty nice. Like, I can get a good solid grip on the gun, no problem. Even though the Dagger Compact is a Glock clone, it actually feels nothing like a Glock when you grip it in your hand. Take a look at the Glock 19 here. The grip is basically a rounded rectangle that comes off of the gun, and that can feel pretty awkward for some people. Then you compare that to the Dagger, the grip has more shape to it. Like, we've got the more pronounced beaver tail, we've got this nice back strap going back here. It's just better shaped and molded, and it's easier to kind of wrap your hand around it than it is on the Glock. Now, you can kind of mimic the shape that the Dagger has on the Glock with adding these removable back straps. The only downside of these is it increases the overall width of the grip, and depending on the size of your hand, that can make it more difficult to wrap your hand around the grip and still place your finger properly on that trigger. So I won't say that one grip is better than the other, because grip is all about personal preference. It's all about what fits best in your hand specifically. But there is one feature on the Dagger's grip that is objectively better than the Glock. If you look at the bottom of the grip on the Dagger on both sides, you'll notice that it has these notches that are cut out in it. Those are there so that if your magazine gets stuck, you can get in there with your fingers to get a good grip on it and pull it out of the gun. The Glock's grip doesn't have that. So kudos to PSA for adding a handy little feature that hopefully you never have to use, but it's there if you need it, and I really like that attention to detail. But PSA didn't stop there. They even gave us optics height sights that are made of metal, straight out of the box. That's amazing. You compare that to the Glock 19, you've just got your standard typical stock Glock sights that are not made of metal, they're made of polymer, and they're not optics height, even though the gun is optics ready. It's like, come on Glock, we're already spending all this money on one of your products that's optics ready, but you just give us polymer sights that won't even co-witness with the red dot? That's kind of pathetic. So way to go, PSA. You're doing it right. You're saving us time and effort by giving us optics ready sights straight out of the box that are more durable than the polymer sights you get on a Glock. So yeah, great job PSA. Glock, you guys have to do better here, okay? If you're finding this information useful so far, be sure to give this video a like to help it out with the YouTube algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so reliability is a big one, obviously. Now, I've carried the Glock 19 every day for about 1.5 years now, and during that time, I've never had one single issue or malfunction with it. And then, of course, you've got the legendary reliability that Glock is known for. So if you're looking for a gun that's pretty much 100% guaranteed to be there for you if you need it, you just can't go wrong with the Glock 19. Now, as for the Dagger, yeah, me and the Dagger kind of got off to a rough start. That looks like a failure to eject. The round that just went off, the casing is still stuck in there. This was from my initial review video where I fired the Dagger for the first time. Be sure to check out that video after you're done with this one. So yeah, my first experience with the Dagger wasn't good. But then in a follow-up video where I gave the Dagger a chance to redeem itself, look at there. flawless. But today it's like, it's great. That was the 4th mag and it's doing great. So yeah, I've been getting some mixed signals from the Dagger when it comes to reliability. So it's time to settle the debate we've been having about this gun's reliability here on the channel once and for all. We're gonna run a few more magazines through it. And if we have any issues whatsoever, unfortunately, my opinion will have to be that the gun is unreliable. But if the Dagger does run, then I'll just chalk those issues we were having up to it needing a break-in period where an actual Glock doesn't need one, because Glocks just run straight out of the box. It's just kind of what they do, right? And it would be nice if a clone would do the same. So let's settle the debate once and for all. Is the PSA Dagger a piece of junk, or is it a reliable Glock clone? Oh, we have an issue here. Trigger stuck at the rear, empty magazine, empty chamber. So the slide didn't lock back after the last round. And this magazine that we were just using is a OEM Glock magazine. Okay, interesting. Let's see. Last magazine. Okay, that time it ran great, and that was a 21 round P-Mag that I had loaded with 20 rounds. And it ran that magazine flawlessly. So, man, that's a tough one right there. Because we had that one minor issue with the slide not locking back on that second magazine, but the other two, it ran great. So what did we learn from today's quick 50 round test with the PSA Dagger? I'm still getting mixed signals from this gun because it was a little iffy today with that one failure of the slide not locking back after the last round. And I gotta say, don't use my videos as a resource to determine this gun's reliability, because the results of my tests are just too varied. Either the gun doesn't run at all, or else it runs great, or else it's a little bit iffy like it was today. So I'm gonna tell you guys, use other reviews, use other resources to determine for yourselves whether or not you think the PSA Dagger is reliable enough for you to use as your everyday carry weapon. Let's talk price point. The PSA Dagger cost me $300, and then when you add in shipping and my FFL's transfer fee, that brought my total to $350, which is very affordable and makes this gun pretty easily accessible for probably most people out there. Now take the Glock 19 on the other hand. This gun cost me $630. You know what that means? That means you could almost buy 2 of these for the price of 1 of these. So clearly the PSA Dagger is the winner when it comes to price point. But this begs a question. Why does the Glock cost so much more than the clone? I mean, just what are you getting for the extra 280 bucks that you're going to spend on the actual Glock? When you look at the specs for each gun, the features that they have, and even the materials that they're made out of, they're all basically identical. So the way I see it, the only possible reason for why the Glock 19 costs almost double what the Dagger costs is the Glock brand. When you buy a Glock, you're not necessarily buying a gun that has more features or is made from superior materials or anything like that. What you're actually paying for is the name Glock and also the decades of proven reliability that stands behind their products. So which gun is better, the actual Glock or the Glock clone? Well, for me, the answer is the legit Glock. Why? Because for me, since this is my carry weapon, I like having that peace of mind that comes from the decades of proven reliability that stands behind these guns, along with the extensive usage by militaries and law enforcement. And for me, that makes the extra money that I spend on a Glock worth every single penny. Now, with that said, you may still come to a completely different conclusion than I did. You may not want to spend the extra money just for a brand name or for a product's track record, and that's fine. If you think, based off of your own research, if you think that the PSA Dagger is reliable enough for your needs, then by all means, go out, get the PSA Dagger, do what you need to do with it, and take care of business. Okay, are there any other gun reviews or comparisons that you would like to see me do here on the channel? Be sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know what you want to see.